Democratic mayors of 4 sanctuary cities are set to testify before the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson, and Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. Now, this comes as the battle between local and federal officials heats up over President Trump's mass deportation of criminal, violent, illegal immigrants is continuing to take place, with sanctuary cities and states and their policies now even more in the spotlight. NewsNation correspondent Mills Hayes is joining us right now. Mills, what do we know about this meeting this week?
Hey, Adrienne. Well, we expect the 4 Democratic mayors at this hearing to be grilled, particularly by Republicans on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which is conducting that hearing. We know that the 4 mayors of cities with migrant sanctuary policies, Denver, Boston, New York, and here in Chicago, and they are about to be front and center of a national political fight, not just for their sanctuary city policies, but potentially for their political careers. All 4 cities have struggled to shelter and support the influx of migrants from the southern border and have spent billions of dollars in total between them trying to house undocumented migrants. And with the recent exception of New York City, these cities have not welcomed the Trump administration's aggressive and hardline stance on undocumented or illegal migrants. So Republicans will certainly have some harsh words for these mayors on that, likely referencing crimes committed by migrants in these cities and claiming that these mayors are not protecting their own citizens. And because of recent developments, it is very likely that Mayor Adams will avoid some of the scolding. In the past few weeks, he has met with Border Czar Tom Homan and has made plans to help the administration round up undocumented migrants in New York, particularly criminals. Of course, that new effort to help the administration comes after Trump's DOJ filed to have Adams' corruption and bribery charges dropped. It's possible that for Adams, Democrats will be the ones who do the scolding. Some in the mayor's party may use this hearing as a chance to turn on Adams, capitalizing on his perceived quid pro quo. Adams maintains that he is not beholden to the Trump administration, just doing what he thinks is right. Adrienne?
Yeah, well, he also speaks to the fact that he is a former cop and that he is against criminals being able to just run free on the streets, like so many Americans believe. But he has some competition. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is campaigning, announcing his bid for New York City mayor. Do we know about his rally that happened today?
Former Governor Cuomo is capitalizing on Mayor Adams' vulnerability right now. Between the upcoming hearing and the alleged quid pro quo with the White House, it has only been 24 hours since his announcement, but he's already held a rally today in Lower Manhattan, introduced by 3 of his daughters. The former governor also received his first major endorsement with the New York City Carpenter Union, posting to X and saying that we need Andrew Cuomo as our next mayor. Just one of the indicators of how favored he is in this race already. A recent poll by our New York affiliate station Pix 11, along with Emerson College and The Hill, shows that the former governor is the favorite in the Democratic primary for mayor. But make no mistake, Cuomo's candidacy is not going to come without reliving some of the controversy and scandal that forced the 3-term governor of New York to resign, most notably the accusations of sexual harassment lodged against him in 2021 by nearly a dozen women. In fact, a counter rally also happened this afternoon, held by women against Cuomo, who say that they want to remind New Yorkers of his history of sexual harassment and abuses of power. Cuomo's bid for the mayoral race also getting a lot of attention for what it might mean for President Trump's relationship with New York City. At the beginning of the pandemic, remember, Cuomo worked with the Trump administration, and when he didn't agree with its handling of things, he was not afraid to stand up to the president either. Adrienne?
All right, Mills Hayes, thank you very much. Border Czar Tom Homan speaking about the Trump administration's focus on sanctuary cities. Let's listen.
Sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals. I'm glad we got Pam Bondi running the DOJ now. Sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals, make that clear. Sanctuary officials say, well, we want victims and witnesses of immigration crime to be free to come to the police and without fear of us working with ICE. That is such crap.
Earlier on NewsNation, Julia Manchester, national politics reporter with TheHill.com, speaking about whether or not we'll be seeing more of this very straight talk on Wednesday.
Republicans on the Oversight Committee released a video essentially touting the hearing and, threatening to cut federal funding to Boston over its status as being a sanctuary city. So clearly, Republicans, Trump administration allies, looking to make this really a spectacle in many ways and get these sanctuary cities mayors on the record and essentially look to, potentially score some political points. Now, Republicans would obviously say that this is a major issue. Immigration is a top issue of the Trump administration. It was a top issue of the Trump campaign, but no question, Republicans looking to target a number of these Democratic mayors.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you specifically about Chicago, because there's been a particular spotlight on that city. Just last month, the DOJ filed a lawsuit against Chicago and Illinois for its immigration policies. So what are we expecting will happen with this main focus for the committee?
Well, we do know that in general, Chicago for Republicans has always been a focal point whether it comes to issues like immigration or crime. And we know that those two issues are linked in many ways. Republicans arguing that, less more undocumented immigrants could lead to the risk of higher crime in a number of these cities. So we're going to be, definitely see a number of examples probably touted through these committees, during this committee, these mayors, asked to respond to that, talk about, their own city's efforts, talk about, what could be done in terms of the federal government getting involved. So expect for a lot of these mayors to certainly be in the spotlight.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.